Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Wolves Den podcast. Before we start this episode, do not forget to hit the subscribe and like button. Give us a follow on Instagram at Wolves Den Hells, and also give us a follow at Tactical Inc. Order your merch. I'm here with Tiger and, of course, Ryan.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's up, guys?
It's been a crazy week.
Oh, yeah, it has.
So real quick, we're going to run through just what we're talking about today so everyone's on the same page here. So we're going to do some bullying and anti-bullying measures along with death row in San Quentin, tips for your jiu-jitsu journey when you're new, and then we're going to wrap it up with some Wolves Den mailbag. If I can talk, I've only had less than half a Heineken and I'm already slurring my words, so this is a good sign, people. But yeah, I think we should do a little brief update on what's going on with us real quick before we jump into all the jive of it all. So how's your guys' week?
It's been going good. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of business stuff, and dealing with all the bullshit we deal with, but training every day.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
The week's been pretty good. I did my first 25 hours and I got my first stripe. So
yeah.
Hell yeah. Congratulations.
Something to celebrate. I'm excited to just take it day by day, one class at a time, as much as I can get in there. And I don't really keep track. I just enjoy going because I enjoy going.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that, and then aside from the jiu-jitsu, it's just getting ready for work, just like you said, Eric, just keeping busy with business and work. So another wedding to photograph this week, and that's pretty much it. I got it's editing photos and just doing the daily in and out routine of work. But yeah, things are good.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
How about you, Ryan?
It's been a crazy week, in a good way, because we're getting headway on this podcast and we're plugging the shit out of it, you know, and it's fun, but it's work, you know, don't get us wrong. We're all grinding here.
Oh yeah.
You guys with your businesses too, man. I don't know how you guys do it, but this week was kind of crazy because just dealing with, like, it's actually relevant with our topic today, you know, dealing with the bullying with my son. He's dealing with that at school right now and he's in first grade. So it's always weird when it comes and hits you close to home. It you know, everyone knows what it feels like for the most part, but when it's someone close to you, it always hits different. And that's why it's been an annoying week. But hey, you know, you got to figure shit out. You got to give your kids a game plan and instill confidence, because, you know, that's when you got to be strong for your kids. On the inside, you're like, what the fuck, right? But you got to just pull it together, come up with a game plan and just attack it. And that's what we're doing. We had a meeting with the teacher, and I actually did that today. So that was cool. He's got a really good teacher. So we hope for the best with the whole situation, but it's just annoying. But it's kind of funny because when I went to the meeting with the teacher, because I was doing this outline for the podcast and doing the research about the bullying, I was almost prepared for what she was going to tell me or like her game plan. So it was kind of cool because I'm always kind of anxious when I go into like situations, and like who's comfortable in a school, even when you're the parent. It's still weird. You know, you're like, you still feel like you're in trouble. It's like, why am I here? School's out. So it was nice to get all that reassured with the teacher today and figure it out. And I think that's the main point, you know, just along with life in general, to end up my recap for my week, is communication is key. Absolutely key.
When you walked into the principal's office, did it feel weird?
Well, what's funny is I know the principal to the point where, you know, I'm not like nervous, and she's not like an older woman.
Yeah. She's
probably in her 40s. If she watches this, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Or you're welcome, depending on which way I am. $1. Just kidding. I was thinking Price is Right rules. But man, I lost my train of thought. So no, I wasn't nervous. But then when you go into a school, even if it's after school, you have to sign in with your ID.
Yeah.
And last time when I came with my wife, I forgot my wallet. So I was like, thank God I didn't forget it this time.
Yeah.
So I logged in and it was funny. I took a dumbass. It takes your picture too. So like my son's watching me and I'm just making a stupid face and he's just hella laughing. And I don't know what the fucking receptionist or whatever secretary is thinking, but
they're just keeping track of everybody coming in and out.
Yeah, which is cool. I actually like that.
Good safety precaution.
Good safety precaution. I was having fun with it.
You know what's cool? I have go ahead.
I was gonna say it's crazy to think because like when I was in grade school, which I'm almost 30, so it was quite some time ago. But I think about it and I'm like, man, we didn't have like
you're young
the school
though, 30.
shootings and all. I mean, I'm sure you guys can say for yourselves though. Like you're
in my mid
almost
40s.
10 years older than me, and you're almost 20. You're like 15, almost 20 years old.
I'm a grandfather already.
Yeah.
I'm literally a grandfather. I have a grandkid.
Yeah, so
He's a
when you
dilf.
guys were
My
in
grandkid.
school, like we didn't have all these safety measures and precautions because you didn't hear about schools getting, school shooting things and all that. Like it wasn't that. I felt safe at school.
Yeah.
For you to say like, oh, it feels kind of weird to go into a school now. Like even when I look at schools, like if I drive by a school, like I'm like, man, like it almost looks like a little prison.
It's so many gated.
And like I mean, it's for the safety of the kids, but also too, like if something happens there and they can't escape or get out, then they're kind of trapped there too. I had a buddy of mine. He moved to Manteca from Canada.
Oh,
And he told me that in Canada, he's like, when I first came here, it was a shock to me to see all these schools just fenced up. Like in Canada, they don't do that. It's all like open, like people can walk in and out, and there's no fences. But I mean, also too, they don't really worry about gun violence because they don't have guns to begin with. I mean,
They also have way less people too,
yeah, that's true too.
unless you're talking like Toronto or Calgary.
Yeah, like the major cities, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get, spur off subject too much on like talking about schools in Canada, but
speaking of schools, like my son was telling me, like he's all, Dad, he's in high school still, he's about to graduate.
okay.
And I have an older son. He's like 22, and he's probably listening to his podcast. That's the one.
Thanks for subscribing.
That's the one who made
Maybe
you
I can
grandpa?
talk.
That's the one that made me a grandpa.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so my other son Noah, he's my younger son. He is like, Dad, I watch this podcast at school when I'm bored.
Oh, he watches the podcast
When I'm bored.
He's all, I'm in class and I just turn the podcast on.
It's cool.
It's kind of a backhanded compliment.
He's all,
He's like, yeah, when I'm bored and I'm absolutely done doing anything
yeah.
and I've got nothing else to do, I'll turn it on.
Turn it on.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
See what happens.
He's my gamer.
That's
son.
cool.
He's watching. He's really good at being the gamer. He had a YouTube channel too.
Hell yeah.
He had like 1,000 subscribers, and
Like a
He
Twitch.
does like the live streaming and stuff.
he was all into Fortnite with his little hands doing the claw.
I was okay. That's
Oh, dang. With like the power glove thing.
Yeah, but now we're starting all over again. My wife and I, now we have our 4-year-old who just started school.
Oh, yeah.
So she's in the preschool, about to go. I think it's preschool. It's like daycare, going to TK
like
next.
TK, yeah.
But I worry about the bullying and the school shooting. She's only going twice a week right now, and it's like, God, man, being my age and my mid 40s, having a child. I mean, I'm almost close to 50. Having a child that's starting all over again.
Yeah,
it's
that's
rough.
Yeah.
But hey,
No, just keep doing jujitsu. That way you can throw a football when she graduates high
probably
school.
hopefully I can move by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in high school.
Well, you said you've been. You were telling me at class that you just hit in the mobility stretches and all that stuff every day, right? Like,
Yeah, I've been like really in the gym, just focusing on agility, and then getting like my body's moving, talking to different. I have stem cells coming up, and then going to LA to see a doctor of stem cells. I think in May, and then so hopefully we can get that. If not, we'll be shooting up to Vegas for the stem cells, and then yeah, just working with you guys doing the MMA and the jiu-jitsu stuff and
pretty healthy
kickboxing.
regimen there,
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a lot better because when I started coming back into jiu-jitsu, and when I got back into jiu-jitsu in the gi in August as a white belt, because I left for a while and I was no gi, and so when I decided to get to the gi, I felt like I was gaining a lot of weight. So then when I got back into the gi, it was like when I started the gi, I was like, damn, man, the gi has helped me so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has helped me so much.
With your
You're
defense,
like,
right?
oh, I got to slim down so I can fit in this motherfucker.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
I think that's helped me. I went from like an A4 to A3.
Yeah.
So it's helped me out so much, and then my wrestling, just doing the wrestling and stuff, and then that's always been a big help for me in jiu-jitsu is my wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the no-gi stuff, of course. I've always had a passion for no-gi, but hey, the gi is working, and I love the gi, and
Dude, jiu-jitsu overall is just great cardio. Like I'm 4 months into my fitness journey. I really started taking my fitness seriously 4 months ago. It's only been 4 months, and I cut 30 pounds.
Damn.
30 pounds, just fucking changed my diet, cut out the processed sugars, and I started running, and then turned into, after that first month of just cardio and running, and that's all I was doing, just endurance and running. And then I was like, you know what, I want to do something else. Like, so I signed up for jiu-jitsu and just hit that at the beginning of January to now, and lifting and still doing cardio and running and stuff, and 30 pounds gone.
Yeah, you know what I used to do too, like real quick, is that when I was doing the no-gi stuff and then the MMA, I would eat like before my competitions, and back in the days, I would do like the chicken watermelon diet. You ever try that? I don't really recommend it for anybody. It's really hard, like no carbs, just like chicken and watermelon.
Sounds like a stereotype joke.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, it sounds like something you see on TV, but it was just something that I tried, and yeah, man, I would like get down to like, the 180s. And do the competitions
so it's legitimately you just only because of all the electrolytes in the watermelon and then the protein with the chicken.
Yeah, with the protein with the chicken, and there was like a half a piece of bread in the.
Is that enough fiber with the watermelon? I guess it is.
Dude, I would get so weak, man. I would get so weak.
Doesn't seem like enough carbohydrates.
We didn't have like. I mean, it was like 2006, so we didn't have like the people, helping us out with our nutrition.
It sounds like bullshit, right? Am I crazy to think that diet sounds crazy?
It's kind of crazy.
I don't
sounds funny though. Like
but it's just simple eating, right?
Yeah. But then it was like if you wanted sugar, if you wanted chocolate, we'd do the pineapple.
Yeah, so you're getting natural sugar.
Yeah, you're getting the natural, the pineapple in there. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of vitamins in fruit too.
Yeah,
but I think fruit has a lot of sugar because I would also drink.
It's like natural sugar.
The Monsters came out back then.
Oh yeah.
So I was drinking Monsters. Like before, like, and then one stupid time I went to compete at the Grappling X in Long Beach, and I took a fucking energy drink or a protein. I think I talked about one of the podcasts. Took a scoop of this pre-workout, and oh my god, I crashed right after.
Oh, it's probably caffeine.
Yeah,
and a bunch of other shit. Yeah. Creatine.
Let's get back to the other subject, the bullying.
Yeah.
Since we were talking about since we have smiles on our faces, let's turn them into frowns because this is about bullying, and we should not be happy about that.
Yeah.
But no, like I just went through this recent headline, and sometimes when I'm like perusing the internet, I'm like, what are we going to talk about this week? A good website I like for smut and or just general information is Daily Mail. It's fun. I like the way they summarize the articles, but then I go through it anyways because I don't trust the summaries because that's just how I am. But this one's pretty brutal. This one's not. There's no silver lining to this story. So prepare yourself. This is a Lifetime movie. Get the ice cream. So Talon Renner, 17, allegedly bragged on Snapchat about beating 16-year-old Preston Lord to death at his house at a house party in Arizona, claiming he was too strong after delivering hammer punches. So he said that about himself after throwing hammer punches at this kid. Preston Lord died of a brain injury 2 days after the beating, for which Renner and 6 other suspects have been arrested. Allegations include one boy dancing on the dying teen's body and others performing simulated rape acts. Renner allegedly bragged to friends about the incident, texting one saying he might hospitalize the victim. Renner's parents allegedly tried to plot an escape for their son, and his father attempting to hide evidence and shift blame to another boy with a similar name. That's fucking crazy. Ashley Reynolds, a former employee at Renner's father's media agency, claimed to be an unwilling participant in a cover-up. Geez, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. What's the problem with this fucking kid? His fucking dad, his parents. This guy's a fucking piece of shit.
Take accountability there. It's like, okay, your son fucked up. Your son fucked up big time.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's no accountability. They're sweeping this fucking thing under the rug, but it's probably because
the Murdaugh family. You ever see that Netflix thing, the Murdaugh murders, and
we were just talking about that last night. My wife and I, that case.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like the kid, was recklessly. He was driving that boat under the influence, and his family, they all have power within. They're all like lawyers, right? And they were able.
I think he was a lawyer that's just like he was like he's got 40 years or something like that for embezzling or whatever he was doing.
They were doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
They were able to work the system and try to work it in their favor so they could protect the son. But then the dad was just a nutcase too. Same thing here. It's like, if your kid, like my parents always told me, if you fuck up, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. That's on you.
Yeah.
You know, it can only help you so much. That's how my stepdad and my mom were and are.
You know, when I was chasing the fugitives down, it was like we'd go to these houses and we'd talk to the parents, and most of the time they would never want to give up their kid. And one day one of the dads asked me, and he was a ex-correction officer, he said, if it was your son, would you want to give him up knowing that he was going to go to prison for the rest of his life? You know, like your son's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. Like, would you want to give him? Yeah, it was a tough question.
Yeah,
like, damn. You know,
and of course you're like, I'm going to do it again, I don't have kids. I've mentioned this on the show before, but yeah, I'm sure when that question was posed to you, you're like, damn, you know, I wouldn't want to see my kid go to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and I think out of respect, when the parents are going to that, it's like, okay, there's victims, which you have to really like try to figure this case out and try to bring these guys back into custody because the bail company let them out in the courts. So it's like we got to bring them back to justice. But the other part is like, it's like, how do you answer that? Is that respectfully just keep your mouth fucking shut and just be like, okay, thank you, sir, for the.
You know what I would do if your answer is you'd protect your kid? I would come up with a witty political way of saying that. You know how you do in like court?
Yeah,
like you do to avoid with the police, where you just say that vague kind of political shit. I'd do that because I feel like also if you're the kind of person that's worried about getting caught, you don't want to say too much because they're going to use it against you later.
Yeah, true.
In a court case, so they're probably used to like leaving information out purposely. But I mean, not everybody. I'm not saying they're all bad.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Not all bad people, but some people make mistakes. But these people were bad. To shift back, apparently the Renner family faced previous legal issues, including charges against his brother Kyler for involvement in gang attacks. Dude, so this family is like crazy. There's some crazy whites in Arizona, dude. I didn't even know about that. I thought they were just retirees and college kids and spring.
There's crazy people everywhere.
Yeah.
I just put it that way, you know.
But I definitely didn't think Arizona was. But then again, Breaking Bad's Arizona, or is that New Mexico?
That's New Mexico.
Yeah, almost the same.
Yeah, it's New Mexico.
I'm going to be that guy and generalize and kind of throw them together.
I mean,
maybe there's different cacti,
states, right? Like,
but
it's bad. I don't know my geography.
No, they're border states. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know.
So. But like you said, dude, these people are everywhere, especially in your own communities. And I kind of wanted to touch on something. I just coined a new term this week, and we've talked about it briefly, but keyboard black belts. So these are people that just, you know, want to judge everybody and look over them and give them criticism and just be negative and kind of like trolls, basically. But, you know, they're just self-appointed authoritarians that have no value. So don't listen to those people and just keep doing your job. Keep doing what you do.
Keep training. Keep going after your goals and your own dreams and stay focused on what you want in life. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm only got 25 hours of jiu-jitsu under my belt, and that's fine. That's, you know, I know there's people out there that put in way more time and have way more experience and, you know, could humble me real quick on the mat, you know. And like I said, when I got my stripe yesterday, I was just grateful to have had it's 25 hours, and that may not seem much in the grand scheme of things in comparison to what other people have trained, but 25 hours of camaraderie and good sportsmanship and people that are respectful and are able to give me their time on the mat and their critique and criticism and help me grow and get better.
Hell yeah.
When you guys roll with me, what do you guys feel? Like, how do you guys feel rolling with me?
When I roll with you, I know that I'm going to get criticism afterwards or throughout. And that's because you have a background of different mixed martial arts, Taekwondo and wrestling and Muay Thai and all of those things that you shared. And you've trained me outside of our gym, outside of, you know, training in Mountain House.
Do you feel like I know my shit?
Yeah, I do. I feel like you're able to correct. You've been able to help me correct my form on certain things, and in turn, I become a better fighter. You know, I mean, did my 25 hours at our school, and then also the time that we do when we train here at your house. Yeah, I do. I feel very good about coming to learn from you, and you know, just you have to be a sponge. You know, you gotta have an open mind. What about you, Ryan?
You're an upper, bro.
I don't know.
You're upper than
I'm
me.
on the fence. No, I'm kidding. No, dude, you're awesome, dude. I'll tell you this, like, ever since I met you, I feel like my game has tightened up so much. My discipline has tightened up so much. So I got nothing but respect for you, and I don't give a fuck what anyone says. And I don't know, no one's saying anything, but I'm just here to say, like, I'm proud of who you are. I'm proud of the work you've done, and the mats never fucking lie. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think, I'm in this for, I made some promises that I'm trying to keep to someone who's no longer here on this earth, and I owe a lot to him because that was my brother, my best friend. And, and I'm trying to keep those promises alive. And that's why I'm doing this journey again. Not was just because I was trying to get back in shape, just for the weight, but there was promises I made. Even that's how Tactical Inc. started. In the beginning was because of promises I made to him. We was, that me and that dude we were brothers. And when you lose a partner that you worked with, kicking many doors in together, hooked many people, put them in jail. I mean, like, that's a brother, like, like, there's no, like, in my heart, there was no replacing him. But I think in this, I found my peace with my new family, my new brothers here, the people I've met in the jiu-jitsu world. Even the criticism I get, all it does is humble me. I might get upset or hurt about it, but at the end of the day, like, all it's doing is humble me or make me a better person. Because I know why I'm here for. I know why I came back into the sport, was to really try to figure this out, I'm doing jiu-jitsu in this journey to be a better person. And I feel like that's what jiu-jitsu is about.
Yeah.
Is to be a better person. And I'm older now. I'm close to 50s, like I said. And I'm really just trying to be a better person and share my knowledge with whatever wrestling or MMA background I have with the younger guys. And, I'm really down to help whoever else wants to come up. I've never closed my doors, never closed my clothing company to anybody. And if they want to get a sponsorship, hey, I'm more than willing to sit down. If you want to get on the podcast and, we share your stuff and you want to share your journey, I'm more than do that. I'm not here to hurt or yell or argue with anybody. I'm too old for that BS. At the end of the day, I'm here to help you. That's it. Yes. I'm here to help you. I might have to start over again, but that's my own fault. I quit for a reason, but now guess what? I'm fucking back, and I'm here to help, and I'm here to conquer this goal, and I have the family I need backing me up.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There you go, man. See, it's like
Time to take a drink off that.
Yeah. So that
Cheers.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, man, I truly believe in family, and I think everybody in this jiu-jitsu world has a certain journey that they're trying to fucking come together on. And I think we all have specific goals. Even the people who don't like me or like us or whatever it is, you all have a goal, and we're all trying to get to one goal. And that's just to really go out there and be a better jiu-jitsu person, be just a better athlete, be a better MMA fighter, be whatever it is in your life. Go out there, even if it's business, go out there and conquer that shit.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all love, man. You can hate all as you want and write all of this stuff up. Guess what? I'm just gonna ignore it, and it's all love back. If you want to sit down and talk, I'm easy to get a hold of on my Instagram, my phone number. Just reach out. I'll be happy to sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
I had the same conversation with another clothing brand a couple weeks ago, and
that's like,
I invited him on the podcast. There's no hate. We talked on the phone.
Even me, I've been photographing for a long time, right? And I had a friend last year. She reached out to me, and she was like, "Hey, Tiger, I always wanted to do photography. I just didn't feel like I had, the courage to just do it. And here I am now. I have my daughter, and I want to try to improve or get better, just so I can maybe pursue it as a career. Maybe I can make some money here, and I can help provide for my kid." And this is someone I've known since 6th or 7th grade, like a long time. We go back, and I was like, that's a very, like, for someone to, she even said in the addressing message to me, she messaged me on Instagram, "Hey, I didn't want to bother you. I know you're really busy. It kind of took me a lot to just even send this message to you. But, I read it and I was like, hey, I respect that, like, here's someone who's actually seeking out, like, someone to help, and like, who am I? Like, how am I going to turn this person down? Like, what if I go teach this person for an hour and she ends up going on her way, and I've opened up a door where she can provide even more for her own family, because I gave her my skills and expertise, a little bit of what I know within an hour. And I set up a time and a place, and I met up with her, and I was able to teach her photography.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that they say that you don't really know a skill until you step on the other side and you teach that skill. Right. Like there's been more than one instance where I've done these kinds of things. Like, in the wedding industry, I had two friends of mine, you know, they went on to go and start their own companies, and, you know, they're booking weddings and they're busy and they're able to make a living. And before they started their companies, they were coming with me to my weddings as my second photographers, and they were learning from me, asking me questions. I said, ask me as much as you want. There's enough work to go around. There's enough work to go around, so that way you guys can book your own weddings. And I had to be very forward with them, because early on in my career, I remember I worked with a company where they didn't have my best interest. They were like, oh no, they wanted to pretty much own me and own, like, I wasn't able to use any of my photos to market myself. They didn't want to see me grow. And maybe it's because they felt like, oh, you know, if we let this guy grow, it takes business from us. But there's so much business to go around. And I told the two that I helped to start their businesses and to teach them, I said, hey, I'm going to be forward with you. Like, this is what I went through and how it was for me, and I don't want that for you. You need to get out there and you need to go and pursue your own jobs, because you're not going to make it as a second shooter. You're not. I mean, you can make a good amount of money here and there, but you need to book your own weddings. You need to. I don't have, my company's not big enough, or I don't have enough scope of work to give you enough so that way you can just sustain yourself just by helping me. No, you need to go book your own stuff. So same thing in the fight world, you know, same thing. It's like,
there's no reason for us to want to be better than each other. It's just like, can you imagine if the whole martial art world just came together and like shared each other's knowledge, how beautiful the sport would become, and everyone just remained like this humble, instead of saying my school's better, this school's better, that school's better. That's great. But individuals, if we just came together, like how much knowledge we can share. You might know something, you might catch me in an arm bar, you might choke me out, you might put me to sleep. Good for you. You might knock me out. Good for you. But guess what? All you're doing is teaching me, you're humbling me more, and I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and try to figure out again. And if we could share that knowledge, and I can come to you and talk to you and make my enemies my friends, we become better. We make this world better. We make this whole sport better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not always about winning all the time.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes it takes like a tragedy or something for us to like humble ourselves, to really go through like an ego death, you know, like it takes loss. Like you open up about losing your buddy who, you know, you were doing all your work with, all the bounties with, you know. It's like, it takes tragedy, and it's unfortunate that it takes tragedy for us to open up and to see how much better we can be in the world, that it takes us to get to that lower breaking point, to see something bad happen for us to overcome and to get to that point, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, like, I agree with you, you know, like,
life's so short, man.
Life's short. Everybody's going through shit. Everybody's struggling. Like, shit is fucking expensive as hell. Like, getting groceries here and like here in the States, and like inflation and you know, business and work, it's not all like, people think like, oh yeah, you just get to take pictures and travel around and like do whatever the fuck you want. No, it's not it. Like it's a struggle. It's an everyday grind and struggle, and it's there's sometimes where it's good and there's sometimes where it's really bad, and sometimes you break even, but you know what, at the end of the day, you pick yourself back up and you keep going after it. You don't quit or give up. And that's what I love about this sport. That's what I love about jiu-jitsu and martial arts, because a lot of the stuff that applies in business and in life it also applies on the mat. You know, they work in tandem with each other. So
at the end of the day, we all have families to go home to when we leave the gym. We all have kids. I mean, if you don't have kids, you have someone to go home to. And I think the guys around me has put a lot of things in perspective. The coaches, my old professor, you guys, you know, even the people who come from different gyms that train with us have put things in perspective. Even the guys who write in comments, they put things in perspective to me. You know, thank you for that. You know, thank you for, you know, putting things in perspective, and thank you for, you know, keeping my ego in check. I appreciate you. You know, I don't ever hate anybody. it's all love here. That's what we're about. That's what this whole podcast is about. That's what Tactical Inc.'s about. We started off with love. Our designs came from some crazy ass ideas that I had in my head and just started designing shit. And that's where you see, my love for dogs is my number one thing. My love for jiu-jitsu, and then my love for everything else. But yeah, first and foremost, my family, my dogs, and jiu-jitsu. So that's it.
Hell
All I
yeah.
got to say is that. Much love to everybody.
Yeah.
What do you got next on the topic, brother?
Well, I was gonna finish off the bullying stuff with some. I went on some websites and pulled up some, and this is actually from like legit websites.
Hold
Sometimes,
on a second
before we do
continue on.
that,
So the article that you brought up,
we can
we
touch on
gotta
that.
touch that.
We didn't even talk on that really. I just kind of thought we moved past it.
It was like true crime.
Did he beat up the kid?
So they
throwing hammer fists.
he beat him to
kid,
death. He
beat him to
suffered
death.
from brain trauma.
Okay.
And then they were posting on Snapchat them on his fucking unconscious dying body because they thought he was just knocked out.
How long ago?
Or
did
they
this
thought he was
happen?
dead and they just didn't give a shit.
Was this recent or?
Yeah, this is pretty recent.
recent. Okay.
So what happened to the kids? Did they do prison time?
They got arrested.
Convicted? Yeah, I want to know.
You don't know what happened?
So the dad was arrested on drug-related charges in January.
That was recent. Recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like two,
Like
3 months ago. Yeah.
So they're gonna. The fact that the parents tried to cover it all up though is kind of crazy.
Dude, but like,
But also, I don't think there's been no court case because it still says allegedly in the
Well, it's all-
article.
how many cases we hear?
Well, that's
that
what I
the-
mean. So that's
that
how you
the-
know.
that the family, the girlfriends, that the loved ones try to cover up for people committing these. We hear so many cases, especially true crime.
Well, here's the
right?
thing too. Like, how you're talking about how they're like, it's family covering up because they love you.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the case. I think the family's covering up because he's a loose end and they've got bigger shit going on and they don't want him to start turning on the FBI to get on their ass because guess what? Now they're on your ass. And that's why the dad's in jail. He probably was trying to avoid
Also,
that.
the FBI got involved.
No, but what I'm saying is like now they're going to start investigating you for gang violence.
Oh yeah.
So if you got gang, that's what, ATF?
No, gangs. There's like it's just like a
Gang is its
like
own
a
thing.
gang
but-
enhancement. It could be.
But you could be moving drugs, so
Legal
ATF
charge.
is what I mean.
I don't know. Drop in the comments if you know that answer.
But normally gangs is drug related, right? So that it would probably be ATF on
Well,
you, FBI.
I mean, it
Either
depends.
way.
It could be the marshals. It could be the local police. It could be the sheriff's office.
But still,
whoever handling the case.
The good thing is that based on this whole altercation, which is kind of like, I guess you could say the silver lining is at least the dad's in there because of this. I mean, it's sad that it took a death of any type to get that, but hey, justice in any form is better than zero.
So are they still fighting this
pisses me
case
off,
now?
though. It's like why did it have to escalate to the point where someone had to lose their life? It's just it's sad.
Well,
it's unfortunate. But
I think how sometimes I think right now your question is probably geared more towards the accidental side of it, maybe, or just people taking it a little too far accidentally and just being like, "Whoops." I still don't think this is even that. I
beat
think
someone unconscious.
but I think they knew what they were doing. And I think they just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and they just
they were just they're these guys are killers. These are the type of people. They're sociopaths. These are people that feel nothing.
Yeah.
And they can do things without even hesitation. And that's scary.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
we're learning more and more about it. True crime is a huge business and booming topics now, especially with the female community. I only speak of this because I have a wife.
I watched true crime too with my.
I'm not no, it's cool, but it's become a big market in general.
Hey, you can find them on TikToks
true
too.
crime, yeah.
It's true crime stuff.
But it's just sad to know how evil people are, and like a good word that's being used this week, like you mentioned, is wicked. Like it's a good word, man. There's some wicked ass people out there, not in a good way, not the way the Brits would say it.
wickedness of the world.
Not wicked awesome.
I mean, I think a lot of us, even some in the martial arts, were bullied at some point in life. I mean,
Yeah, and I think there's two sides of it,
opened up
right?
on that, like in a sense, like on the last episode, you opened up, Eric, about like just the relationship you had with your father and feeling like kind of like the black sheep of the family. And in a sense, that is kind of like bullying within your own family, and then there's bullying outside of that. It's like I just think it's unfortunate. Like bullying has gotten to this place where it's like, it ends up taking lives of kids who, you know, they're just innocent and young. They still have a lot of life ahead of them.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks. It's unfortunate, and it's gotten so bad because like it's not just bullying in person anymore. It's cyberbullying.
Yeah.
So
it's like something that they can never really escape from because like they're constantly being targeted, or you know, other kids have a platform to do this, right? But also too, I feel for the kids that are the bullies too, because it's almost like, what are they going through to get to the point where they become the bully? You know what I mean? What is happening in their homes? What are they going through that turns them to the point where they feel that, oh, the only way that my situation gets better is if I make other people feel worse.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something we need to figure out, like, as a society, just like.
Well, I think part of that solution big time is awareness. Like the more you talk about something, the more it just becomes second nature. People hate to admit it, but it's true. Yeah. And I'm not saying we need like stricter laws on shit, because that's always a problem, because that's a deep funnel that becomes a problem. But like, what I just think, like, it starts with awareness. Like, you know, we need to be teaching it more. It is being taught more, but I think it still needs to be taught more. Like, for instance, I think bullying is a month. It's October, I believe. Bully awareness, I believe, month is October, and it's like, why is that why is that a month? No, it should like be, that's something that should be all year for fucking round. And like every martial arts gym, they should at least be offering 2 like bullying classes a month. Like, I don't think that's crazy. Yeah. I don't think that's crazy at all. You know, especially with it being as common as it is. It's going to get people in your door for the gyms. Hey, marketing. Yeah. But it's also going to it's going to get the community involved with your gym. It's going to get people there's going to be people that wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I want to sign up for this martial art. But now, because their son or daughter is going through a situation where they don't know what to do, and neither do the parents, these are people that can help you. And this isn't just jujitsu. It's Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, judo, karate, whatever. Just don't do Aikido. That's bullshit. But,
I don't know. I mean, there's some people who love Aikido. So
yeah, Steven Seagal, but he's got brain damage. He got CTE, Seagali. But he's also an actor. So there you go. But
what if Aikido actually worked on you?
But the fact that we can't even definitively say it does tells you it's BS, dude. And that's kind of the point I'm making. Is like, no one wants to say it, but it's pretty much said. But no,
you're gonna enter a tournament one day and some dude's just gonna do it.
No, he's probably gonna kick my ass. I'm not doubting there's an Aikido guy out there that can beat me up, but that doesn't mean he's gonna use Aikido to do it.
We're talking about bullying, though. You're bullying Aikido.
I am. I did. I threw him under the bus, but with good reason, and I backed it up with evidence. So we're moving forward. According to stopbullying.gov, bullying is most likely to take place. Now the first one made sense, hallway or stairwell, because no one's there. But the second one, I was surprised. I really didn't think classroom was going to be hallway or stairwell is 43%, according to the statistic.
Where the bullying happens.
Classroom's 42. I did not think it was going to be that high, because in my mind, I'm always thinking these little shits are on good behavior.
Nah, dude. I remember being in high school, and there were some kids. They were, you know, I mean, they would just sit in class and we'd talk smack, like, in a way it was like just kind of like sly, like slick, you know, like, we was saying some shit, but also not get to the point where we're gonna get sent up to the principal's office or something, right? But I can see that happening. Like, you see, I think back to being in the classroom, and I'm like, oh yeah, like there were times when kids were getting bullied, and you know, it might be just like during a group project or something, in a time when the teacher's not teaching, like somebody might have fucked up the code or something and like pass it around to everybody else. Yeah. And then it's targeting.
I was kind of lucky though. I mean, I did get bullied in high school, but every time or junior high, anytime that it would happen, like I would call my older brother. Okay. So my older brother would come with his friends.
Lucky.
And save my ass. So there's a couple times. Even like there was a time where so I got stabbed when I was like 15 years old. Oh. And then when I got stabbed in my neighborhood that I was living in, the guys would show up on every time the bus would drop us off. And they would show up there and then try to chase me home. Right, so I got smart. Like, I'm not
fucking creepy, dude. Those kids are bad.
No, they're not even kids. These are adults.
Oh, they're fucking monsters.
Like brothers. Those are pieces of shit. Came into prison and stuff, right? So I was like,
the reason for stabbing you? Were you trying to like gang initiate?
No. So what happened was what happened was the guy was talking about my mom, and it just kind of escalated from there. We got into a street fight, and then he pulled a knife out and started stabbed me multiple times.
Wow.
And then
How many times did you get stabbed?
Oh, dude, I've been stabbed 7 times.
7 times?
Yeah, 6-7 times. I had to wear a cast on my arm. I have the marking right there. Came out this side, here.
Fuck.
Got on my butt. But I collapsed on my in my driveway.
Okay.
And then I kind of collapsed there. Then my parents came out, and we lived in a bad neighborhood. So it was bad. But anyhow, they started following me every day. I started getting smart. I'm not going to get off this bus stop. And then my brother jumped on the bus with us, and my older brother. And then he was like, no one's going to fuck with you. He was like, we're going to handle this shit.
Yeah.
So he would walk me home, make sure we got home okay.
Yeah.
You know? Because I was like doing everything and ducking, trying to move, and be like, oh, there they are right there. You know, I still remember the guys' names. Like, I know them all by heart.
Was there ever a day that you and your brother beat the shit out of him?
No, my brother.
Like, how did that get resolved? Like, how did they end up like?
Did you ever get that feeling of
So in my neighborhood, it was like it was super gang related. So
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
you know,
basically.
That's what I asked.
Fair assumption.
Yeah, I
Trying to
just
initiate you into a gang and like.
no, not an initiation. It was just more of a let's pick on this dork.
Stabbing gave it away too.
This big nerd. I mean, I was a big
Nerd.
dude, so
Out of the three of us, I find that hard to believe.
It was 2.
yeah, I was into model cars. I painted model cars when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
that is
I was
kinda nerdy.
Yeah, I was really
Yeah.
into that stuff. I mean, it's
Don't worry, we all
kinda-
get along.
Gamer. I wasn't like I didn't like have like I knew like in middle school and high school I was like, okay, well, I don't do contact sports and I don't do like basketball or football or any of these things, and like, you know, like what is it that's gonna carry me? So I like one am not like you know, like a bullied, but it was always my sense of humor and my personality. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna let that like I'm just gonna be myself, and I'm gonna, you know, if I can make people laugh. I was a very humorous like person.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh yeah, just like if I never like, I don't know, the way my mom raised me, she was like, oh yeah, you don't count anyone out, and don't she taught me not to bully other people, and you know, she taught me, her and my dad both, they were like, yeah, you know, like don't put someone down for whatever situation they're in, or you never know what they're going through at home, and this and that. So all my friends, like, you know, through grade school and through high school, they were from every background, like, and I always was like, just made a point to get to actually know them. I was like, man, if you really like, I've always been a people person.
Yeah.
I actually like to hear people's stories. I like to sit and talk to people and like hear what they have to say and what they're going through, and like give my input too. It's just like, you know, my brain was always like, oh, I want to like, it's always like, I want to know, like, what is it that makes people tick? What is it that people are driven about? What is it, you know? And that's what carried me. Like, yeah, I may not have had the most athleticism, and I wasn't, you know, doing all the contact sports and football and all that stuff, but at least I knew I could get away with my sense of humor, and people would enjoy being around me for those reasons. And they also knew like I wasn't gonna like count them out, or just because like there were cliques, like groups of people in school. It was like, but I was always floating around like, oh, say what's up to everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember like, I think it was my sophomore year. It was like, they voted me like the, what is that?
Most likely to.
Not like the end of the year thing where, it's like
a
not
career?
like the prom king or whatever, but I got to ride in the car and like got suited up and like waving at everybody.
You were the man.
You know, yeah, everybody was like, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna vote Tiger. And I like, even then I felt weird because I was like, man, this is weird. I don't like that kind of attention.
Yeah.
Like to that extent, you know.
Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaving you.
But I was I was like the person they voted for, like,
That's sick.
you know, I was like, it was cool. It was me.
And it was a
like,
positive thing. That's
it was
always
a positive
nice.
thing.
Yeah,
It was me and my good friend Courtney Vieira, who you
Now
know,
look at you now. You're like you're traveling the world, shooting film with supermodels.
yeah, you know, it
Shit,
makes
no big
sense
deal.
like that. And that's the thing is like in my career now, like again, like I photograph with people who have all these crazy backgrounds, or not crazy backgrounds, but they're well-educated people, like well-off people. And again, like I just look at them as people. I try not to be like, oh, like this person is this person, no, you're just a person to me and I'm a person to you. And what do we have in common? What do we not, like, what do you enjoy? What do you not enjoy? Like, I have to get to know people like when wedding season kicks off, it's like I spend a week or, I spend, a good amount of time capturing one of the most intimate moments of someone's life.
Yeah.
Is their wedding. And like, I feel like in order for me to really bring out the best in them, I have to get to know them. And then I really enjoy that part of my job. Like, yeah, I can be an introvert, and it happens to me after a job. Like I'll spend my time, give hours of my time getting to know people and making people feel great. And we jive and, have a drink with them at the end of the night at the wedding, and, just have a good time with them. And then I'll crash and I'll be like sitting at home for like the following week, like editing photos. But I'm like, I don't want to be talked to. I don't want nobody talking to me. I just want to I need some time to recoup, You know
what's crazy that, as I'm a dog trainer, is that there's a lot of people in the dog world who are introverts. Even the people that have dog owners. I feel like
I like dogs more than I like people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that bumper sticker. Yeah.
It's just because I think with dogs, dogs is like, for me, my dogs, I have 4 dogs. So my main dogs are like they're my ride or die. Like I can just chill with them, hang out with them, drink a beer in my back patio and just hang out with my dog, right? But if I want them to have my back, since I train them for protection, like my dogs are going to have my back.
They really got your back there.
Yeah, like when you walked in the house right now, my fucking...
Yeah,
man, that was Harley.
Oh, it was
Harley and Khaleesi. Khaleesi's my wolf-looking dog. She was like on you.
Yeah.
My daughter was holding her back and she was ready to go. He went to the restroom. My dog Khaleesi's like, ready to bite him.
Yeah.
But I think, for kids who are bullied, I think that's a really good way too, is like getting a good dog to help the kids, like especially the ones who are bullying. But bullying just in the schools, like even as adults, it happens in adults, like in workplaces. People are bullied in workplaces by their bosses or by
people are body shamed in their
or in the internet,
or their
cyberbullying's huge.
People, it sucks. Like in the workspace, it's like, I was just talking to a good friend of mine. She was like telling me, she's like, I'm not making enough money at my job. And, I feel like, that the other people get favored, but they're men. And I was like, I don't agree with that. Like if you have the skills and you have even more expertise or skill in that, then you should make more money for your skills.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen in the medical field, like with my siblings, like my sister, going to interview for a job. And it's like, okay, like, you did your time, you studied, you became, an RN, and now here you are becoming a nurse practitioner, and it's like you're interviewing for a job. And my sister, like, I applaud her. Like she won't settle for anything less than what she knows she deserves. She's my oldest sibling, and I really do look up to her. Like, but it's unfortunate that in here in the States, I don't know if it's like that everywhere in the world, but if you are a woman, you are paid less.
Yeah.
You are paid less, and that's unfair. You might have more expertise, or you might have more expertise than the person who's interviewing next to you, and it's like that's where we got to start looking at it. Like, why don't we treat people equally?
How many people do you know? Both of you guys know that have been bullied. How many people do you know? Is it a handful?
A good handful.
2 handfuls.
One of my best friends. I don't want to throw names out there. But she's one of my best friends, and like she was bullied a lot when in middle school for her teeth, right? Like she was bullied a lot, and then she nobody has perfect teeth. Nobody's born perfect teeth. You get braces, and then you end up that gets corrected, and then it's like. But should have never got bullied that way.
Yeah.
Nobody should, it's like, it's fucked up. It's like, she's one of the sweetest people I know, like.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the best, one of my really, really close friends.
That's
like,
yeah.
Also, dental work's fucking expensive.
Yeah. But see, like.
So let's
Well,
Got to get
like,
that
see,
insurance.
Like, it pisses me off. Like, there are people that are so fucking low that will go out and they'll bully people who are, you know, they can't even defend themselves. Like, like kids with disabilities, kids with Down syndrome.
How about like a lot of the homeless people?
Homeless people too.
They get
like
bullied.
that's one thing where like you shouldn't pass judgment upon a homeless person. You don't know how they got there or what brought them to that point. Like, you don't just wake up one morning and go, I'm going to be homeless. You know, I don't think it works like that. I think like it has.
Oh, they got a story or stories.
It has to be like a lot of trauma and a lot of things that build up to get you to that low of a point in your life, right? And I say that from, you know, we talked about this on the first episode I was on with talking about my brother. Brother came from me and all my siblings are all cut from the same cloth. We were all raised in the same household. We all grew up with one absent parent. And had our step parent. So my 3 step siblings had my mom fill in the role, and then my dad stepped in for me and my sister, and we all had a step parent, but my parents never treated us any different. But all of us dealt with the trauma of having an absent parent in our own way, and unfortunately, I feel like that might have been a catalyst for my brother spiraling and going down the path he went because of having an absent parent. Like me and all my other siblings, my step siblings and my sister, we were all like, we, you know, accepted our circumstance and we're all living happy lives. Like, yeah, we're not all where we want to be in life, but at least we didn't allow that circumstance to shape us. And I think my brother, I think he felt maybe a certain way about not having that void in his life filled, or, you know, and I know my mom loved him the same way that she loved me and my sisters and my other brother. Like, she loved all of us the same and equally. But for him, maybe internally and personally, he felt, oh, because my mom's not here in my life, you know, it's a void and I'm going to go down a certain path. And just became that. Yeah. You know, and my brother was homeless. My brother was living in Southern California. He was coping with all of his own demons in his own way, and unfortunately he lost his life because of that. You know, but
well, brother, you always have brothers here, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got
you.
I got a lot of support, and you know, you know, I know my brother's at peace. You know, like, he's at peace. Everybody has demons. Everybody's trying to figure their shit out. And I'm happy that he's not suffering anymore. Yeah. You know, like, it's a tough thing, man. Like, this whole fentanyl crisis and the things that are happening right now, you know, it's tough, man. And people go through, you know, we at one point it felt like pop culture was glorifying like drug use and like all of these things. And even myself, I remember like thinking about it when I was 16, 17 years old. I loved listening to music, but I look at the music I was listening to, I'm like, man, all this stuff glorifies like drug use. And then like they were putting out all these pieces of music or shows and things like that glorify this lifestyle and drug use. And then you see the repercussions of that, and people start dying. And I had friends who died from overdoses. Yeah, and I'm like, man, these are the people that like, I thought like, oh yeah, we just you know, party a little bit and we'll be all right. But no, it takes over in its own way. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it's like population control. They're trying to like get young kids to get hooked on shit.
It is kind of weird how things like meth and fentanyl gets cycled into our problems out of nowhere, and it's just kind of strange. But I mean, without getting too tin hatty, you know, I feel like there's always a bigger agenda on anything. That's just how I feel about a lot of shit. So I feel like there's always a reason. I mean, just like with the bullying, you know, the bigger thing was the dad and the gang violence more than not that the kid killing a kid wasn't bad, but I'm saying they've probably gotten away with murder before, you know, like who knows? Yeah.
There's a few stories that has happened.
I feel like there's always a bigger play at hand, and we're just watching the pawns move. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what the fuck's going on past that shit.
Yeah, there's a few stories happen where the parents, or I think there was one in Texas where the dad dropped the son off. He did a shooting inside a liquor store, and then the dad helped him get away, and like, they can't find the kid. And everything. Dad's doing prison. Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure the whole story of it, but I've heard a lot of here and there.
I mean, the sad thing is at this point, you can almost make shit up and people would believe it, you know? Mm-hmm. If I said at the end of this podcast, I made up that whole story, people would be like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, maybe it is fake because it's gotten so bad and surreal at times with what's going on with violence and bullying that you're like, man.
Well, I think a lot of the times the internet also has like a lot of videos that go around.
Oh yeah,
well, mix the stories up.
The thing about the internet is it's like an absolute. It makes everything more efficient and easier, and that includes evil shit and bad things. So good things can get put out and bad things can get put out, and there's no control over what and how much. But I don't think adults should have. I don't think we should be regulated on a basic scale. I feel like. But then how do you regulate kids, you know? And I feel like I regulate my kids. I'm like...
What do you think's the proper age to give your kid an iPad?
Oh, dude.
Oh, man.
So
I just had this conversation with a friend. But
so with my kid, they have tablets now and they earn them. It's like a treat. And they get like 30 minutes at a time.
Okay.
And that's like once a week or when we're on road trips. Because when you're on a road trip with a kid, you got to give them something to do.
Entertain. Right?
It sucks. So it's purely that. I know parents though that have their kids glued to this shit. So I want to avoid that. 2 reasons, like their mental health and just like posture and everything. So I guess that's 2. 3 would be, it's just, how do you know what they're watching? Like yesterday, I have a Nintendo Switch and my son was on it because my oldest son, I trust him. But I was like, he was watching a video and I'm like, hey, what are you on right now? Because there's like kids apps where they can watch videos.
Yeah, well,
and that's safe.
I've heard of like YouTube kids actually having some fucked up shit on it.
Well, what I want to say too is that's why I use like apps like PBS Kids or like there's apps like called Kadoodle and shit like that where they literally it's only that content, it's age. It's not like a forum for uploads.
Yeah, we have to monitor our daughter.
So my son was like, "Oh, I'm on YouTube," and I was like, "Hell no, you're not on YouTube," because it's logged into my account and I'm like, you know, I watch terrible things on YouTube. Half of the stuff you send me. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it's just once again, I was like, no, dude, absolutely not. You're not allowed to go on YouTube. You can watch it when I watch it, but not on your own, not unsupervised. Absolutely not. YouTube is holy shit. We have already gone over this. Between Instagram and YouTube, you can pretty much watch anything.
You can watch anything.
Pretty much anything. Instagram's gotten to the point where you can watch people die. So
oh yeah,
it's kind of nuts. It's kind of crazy, but I do think that's another reason why a lot of that violence might have been happening in the classroom just because of technology as well. Like you said, maybe they're just texting, they're on a group chat or they're posting on social media a picture of this kid's ass crack showing, you know, instead of throwing a coin, now it's posted online and embarrass everyone. I mean, dude, it's pretty convenient for bullying. Yeah. Like I said, everything gets more efficient, good or bad. So
it might be funny in that moment, but it's not funny when that kid is so hurt by the embarrassment or, you know, it's like that they go and take their own life. Right.
Yeah.
And I can say, you know, I mean, I'm not perfect. I've gone on Instagram and seen some reels or whatever. Yeah, right. Reels. Is that what they're called? Reels?
Yeah.
Right. And you see some shit and it's like, you know, like this person like might fall or something and you know, it's funny and humorous, but then like, I don't know, it's just not really that funny. Like when you think about how, like, what's that, you know.
And is the schools equipped right now to handle mental health? That's a big
absolutely
question.
Not. No.
What you said?
Yeah,
no,
they're not equipped for
to
it.
handle mental health. Yeah.
No, well, today it's funny you bring that up too, because in the meeting I had with the teacher, she brought up, well, we have 3 yard duties for 200 kids. And I told her, I said, I understand. It's a numbers game. And she wasn't making excuses. She was purely educating me on the situation. And I appreciate that because you need to know information like that. That's the resources they have, and that's what they have to help you and your child. So that's why, once again, this isn't just about using the school. As a parent, you need to be involved. You need to make sure the other parents are understood and they're involved. And that's through the school. The school's going to probably have to mediate that so you don't, fight each other on the street. But it's important, communication is main thing. Like communication with the parents, communication with the kids, having trust in their parents or an adult to tell them that this is happening, because it takes a lot of courage, especially for a young child, to just come out to someone and say, hey, I need help. Like, it's not easy. I as an adult, it's not easy. I can't imagine what it's like as a child. So it's like engaging the parents. And then lastly, honestly, I think just like what we probably have been doing ourselves, train in martial arts, boxing, anything, self-defense, teach your child defense, teach your child life skills, because you're not going to be able to coach them. You want them to have a playbook, and you want them to be able to run that and know when to execute it on their own. And that's what your job is as a parent, and your job as a mentor or as any kind of elder for any family or friends you have. Like that's part of the job. That's part of your duty. And I think if we just focus in on that, everybody, because this goes out to the parents out there that might be like, well, I don't know, my kid doesn't talk to me. Well, go and talk to your kid, because part of building that bridge back up is letting them know that the communication is open. So you need to teach them and lead by example and say, okay, hey, look, how was your day? And then start that way. Don't probe questions. Don't say, well, did you have a bad day? Just say, how was your day? Let them tell you how it was. Don't give them a cookie cutter answer sheet, let your kids talk to you and they'll open up, and let them talk though. That's the main thing is, and this, I learned this more when I had my second child, because I understood, okay, I need to be a little humble as a parent, because sometimes as parents, we know everything. That's our ego with a child, so
we know better than that.
Right. And for the most part, it's true, but not when it comes to their emotions and their mental health. Like, they need to communicate that, and we need to trust them and respect that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in order for they are eventually they will become adults, but they are their own. The kids need that respect, just like adults do. And if you don't get that, they're not going to give it.
Unheard, and they shelter off, and they feel like they can't talk to their own family.
Yeah.
And that's doesn't help the issue at all, because then you have a young individual, young pupil just going on their way thinking that they can figure it all out. Like, I don't know, I look at who I was when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. He was like 21, 22. You think you have it all figured out, man. Like, I asked my parents this. My dad's in his 50s. I've asked my grandparents this, and they're like, we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, still trying to figure out life. Like, it's life is always teaching us,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Life's a trip.
So, thank you guys for tuning in on the whole subject of bullying, and just, tuning in for the show. Wolves Den Podcast appreciates everybody who watches it. So, without you guys, without our audience, we wouldn't have stuff to talk about. It's just we like to spark up conversation with you guys. So if you guys are going through bullying within your own family, with your own kids, or if you have been bullied yourself, maybe drop it in the comments. Or
DM us if you don't want to be seen.
Yeah, or DM us. What is it that you've done to help your own kids, or what you went through? If did you want to talk about those things? It would be nice to hear some feedback on that. Ryan?
Yeah, and I think obviously, like Dad, on what you just said, I think we can keep it anonymous, and obviously we would ask permission if we were ever going to use the information you send us on here. Of course, we would ask permission. But other than that, we're just an open forum for whatever kind of bullshit you're going through. We're here for you.
Yes.
Yep.
We are here.
Being here. How did we get here, Eric?
Yeah. Why kids join gangs.
Gang violence. Oh, there you go.
So one of my backgrounds is I was a gang prevention specialist for a Cal Grip grant. And I was helped out with 2 different cities. I don't want to name the cities, but I was a gang prevention specialist for them under certain mayor's task force, but I don't want to get too much details. But one of the things I used to do is educate the public on why kids join gangs, especially youth. So one of the main reasons kids join gangs is definitely bullying. A lot of the times we start finding out is that one is the parents are always working, especially in these smaller towns that are migrant towns that have a lot of the field workers, farm workers are always working a lot, busting their butt off, and they come from a different part. They can come from Mexico, they come from LA, they can come from different parts, right? And they have to work to support their families, just like anybody else here. And some of the kids just they get bored, they get educated during school about the gang stuff, they become curious, and then they join the gangs. They get acceptance from the gangs. The gangs are definitely, they want to bring them, like make them feel at home, make them feel like this is your family. We love you, we can help you out. They show them the money, they see the girls, they see the flashy stuff, they see the Instagrams, they see the music, they see everything that's going on TikTok. Why can't I have that? Mm-hmm. Why can't I have that? I get protection. I got my homeboys to back me up, my homegirls to back me up, and that's the way it goes down. And then they join these gangs, and I'm getting bullied. So hey, let me call little Smiley over here and let's handle business. And that's how it happens.
I mean, it is a sexy thing, right? Because it's plugged that way. Like, it's like human beings, our survival instinct is to belong to a group or you die, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like just like the camaraderie aspect of military or police or fire or medics or even martial arts, like belonging to a group and having you all on the same page universally is kind of cool. And I feel like, especially at a young age where everything's so rebellious too. I understand why it's appealing, especially if you're getting bullied or like you said, you need an elder to look to because your folks aren't home, and it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, then they get involved with these gangs and they don't realize the street politics or the prison politics and the things that are happening. And then they go to juvenile hall and then they get more educated in juvenile hall about the gangs, and they want to make a name for themselves. So they get deeper and deeper and deeper, committing different crimes, assaulting people, assaulting officers in juvenile hall. Eventually they end up with these adult sentences and end up in prison. Then they go out and why not? I mean, these gang members are, hey, you're a kid, we got so-and-so homeboy that needs to be taken out, so we're gonna get you to you do it because you're gonna get a less charge. I arrested this gang member one time, and he told me, I asked him, why do you guys recruit the kids? I was taking him to jail, and he was out of bail, so we picked him up on this charge and on his bail warrant. And so he had said that we use kids because the reason was because they're going to get a less charge. If we need someone to be handled, they're definitely going to handle that situation. Mm. And when they handle it,
I didn't know that. That makes sense.
We're going to get less of a charge because this kid doesn't have any charges on him.
Oh, wow.
And it's better him than us.
Wow.
So and also, if it's like a petty version of something, they might not look as deep into the whole crime syndicate, right? Like if it's an adult doing it, they'll look through the funnel more, right?
Yeah, I feel like
they might just drop the case more when it's a juvenile sometimes.
Yeah, it's a juvenile. It's going to, it depends if it could go from a juvenile court to
but if it's gang affiliated, they'll treat it the same.
Yeah, right? They get definitely gang enhancements. I mean, whatever's happening in those cases. I mean, I've seen kids that have lower charges. I mean, charges that are in juvenile hall get sentences to prison time. Or jail time as soon as they turn 18 because of the sentences they get, and I'll never forget, I transported one individual to court, and after court he was crying and taking him back to the hall, and he was crying, and I asked him what's going on. He's like, man, I'm going to go to jail or prison after this because whatever sentences he got, and I just got a baby, I'm never going to see my baby. Like that's like you just had a child, and now you gotta, you're stuck in this system, and now you're in the system, and I don't think the kids really understand how easily they can get influenced and end up in this system and go to this juvenile hall, then go to prison, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're 18 years old getting sentenced to San Quentin. You're walking in there and you got grown ass men that you never even had, any affiliation with or even been around your whole life. And then you have to go to this prison system and you're going to do your time. And one that happens in there is you're definitely going to get bullied. If you think you're getting bullied now, you're definitely going to get bullied in prison. Especially if you're a youngster.
By your own people too, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's viewers that probably can go on here and just add their comments on there, what they think and what they feel. People, especially that people have been in the system. I mean, I'm not always right on some of the stuff. But I've done a lot of studies, and like I said, I educated a lot of people on this stuff.
Yeah, you think it's bad out here? Wait till you get in there.
Yeah, prison's a whole different game, and then
world.
And now just with the whole system thing, it's like once they're caught up in the system, it becomes a repeating cycle. And then when they get paroled out, I mean, you're still in the system because you have a parole officer. If you're a probation officer, then you're still in the system because you got to check in with your probation officer. You got to wear ankle bracelet. You got to, if you committed a crime, you got to go back to court. It just becomes a repeating cycle. You're in the cycle now, and that's what happens. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize is that what they're getting caught up with,
until it's
too late, and you're so deeply involved, and then
there's so much that life has to offer, bro. It's like,
well, and you owe too many favors at that point too, right?
Yeah.
Not only you have to deal with the prison politics and the prison gangs, you got to deal with the correction officers that are in there. Yeah. So you're dealing with both. I mean, you think you're stressed out now? Wait till you go in there.
You think inmates are bad? What about COs, huh? Am I right? Just kidding.
That's Ryan.
Yep. Hi, guys.
I know a few COs.
I'm just kidding. I've only seen Oz. I'm basing this all off HBO.
I mean, there's a lot of good podcasts out there to talk about, different parts of the system, but this is definitely how kids get caught up in the system. Is definitely when they get recruited in these gangs and they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and they're committing these acts of violence, or they're selling drugs and getting caught up. It's this huge facade on the internet. I mean, with Instagram, it's all promoting all this stuff. I mean, there's influencers now that are bodybuilding and lifting weights, and they're promoting their products, but at the same time, they're sharing this gang life that they live, and acting like it's great. But guess what? They're making millions of dollars, and they're outside here getting promoted and getting sponsors, making millions of dollars, driving Ferraris, driving Porsches, while you are pushing the weight, or getting caught up and ended up in prison.
That's crazy.
Or ended up in jail.
It's kind of a metaphor for the working man too, if you think about it. It's like a person who works the 9 to 5 versus the person who figured out the loophole and is like kind of like an entrepreneur that can thrive and really make a name for himself, work the hours they want. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk.
I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just saying it's very similar. It's just illegal versus legal. That's the only difference. It's the same roadmap and same game plan.
So my first question is, how many women do you think get caught up, or these girls that are with gang members get caught up, and then they're hanging out and they're about, they're out and about and they're hanging out, they get pulled over by the police, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, hold my gun. Please come do a search, and now the girl gets a gun charge. Right?
Yeah, but at the same time, these girls running with these guys, they're bad bitches, dude. They're not fucking just innocent people here. They all got jumped in. They're all running with the crew.
It's
like
all big,
they're all like, I'm not saying they're bad people, but they're in on that shit. They know what they're doing.
My other go ahead.
It's a vicious cycle of like, okay, something that their parents went through, maybe their grandparents went through. It's just a vicious cycle, right? Like,
they're caught up in the cycle and they can't get out.
And they can't get out, and that's the thing is like, I wonder if they, is it when they're actually incarcerated? Because you hear people who get incarcerated and they're like, I fucked up, like this isn't where I want to be. This isn't the life I want to live. And it's like, if maybe somebody watches this podcast and they go, you know what, like I want to change now. I don't want to wait till then.
Yeah.
It's like, it's never too late to change. These people, they go into the system, and it's probably a small percentage, but they go into the system and they do change. So they realize, wow, this isn't the lifestyle that I want to live.
I think there's a lot of people that do, probably more than don't.
Well, imagine how many guys get caught up. I mean, the guys are in prison, right? Or women in prison, and they're just like, especially the men who are shot callers, who are in prison, who are doing some very, very serious time for some various crimes, and are running shit, right? How many of them really want their kids in jail or prison? Right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm pretty sure, I don't know that answer, but I'm pretty sure a majority of them
Oh, I'm sure it's
thinking outside the box is that they would not want their children to follow in their footsteps going to prison, because they've been in prison. They know the SHU program. They know the lockdowns. They know all the prison politics that their kids are going to have to follow. And there's a possibility you're going to lose your child in prison,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To some kind of, if they don't follow orders, they're going to get killed. Right.
Yeah.
Or even the street life, being out on the streets, running around, and there's a possibility you're going to lose your child out on the streets. All it takes is a disrespect, some kind of, like I said, like
Somebody
harassment,
the wrong way, and then it's just like, oh,
talking shit on the internet, and then it happens from there. I mean, it's over and over and over that we turn the news on and we see these kids in the system. And what are we doing as a state to change it? What are we doing to rehabilitate these kids and just show them that, hey, there's a better life for you, a better opportunity out here for you, and let's get you to college. Just get you, because there's dreams. Like, I was that kid that lived in the hood, that there was no dreams of going to college. Like, that shit gets me emotional, dude.
Like-
There's no fucking dreams for these kids.
yeah. Didn't they shut down all the juvenile facilities here in California or something?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, the worst.
They're trying to I don't know if I remember that correctly, but I thought that they were shutting down a bunch of juvenile hall systems and stuff.
Well, imagine yourself as a correctional officer, right? Imagine yourself working in juvenile hall. You sign up for this job to try to help out, even if you got part-time or extra help, whatever it is, right? You're there to help out, and you're the CO. You might not be full-time, whatever. But at the same time, when you're walking down your shift, you got a little kid at the door who might be 12, 13 years old, who's fucking crying for his mom, who's crying for his dad. What do you say to that kid?
Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, like, what? That's what the job is, right? And I'm not saying it's easy, but what about medics? You know, everyone who does a job that isn't easy somehow has to callous in order to keep doing it. And I don't think it's anyone's instincts to be that way naturally, but it's definitely going to have to be a learned trait, because, yeah, like you said, it's going to hit home. But I bet you a good CO is already they're already used to it, because they got to get used to the fact that these people in their line of work could be manipulating them, right?
Yeah.
So you can't let your guard down.
No.
Even though you think that this is a child, well, this is a killer. How do you know it's not a person who could kill you?
Well, I mean,
and I'm not saying they're not innocent, but you, as a CO, that's not your job. You don't have case files on all these kids.
But there's also kids in there that are not in there for murder.
For sure. But how do you know the difference? As a CO, you don't have access to that stuff.
Yeah.
You know the records when they come in.
Oh, well, they probably talk about it. But but I'm just saying officially. Officially, you don't really have the... Officially, you don't really have the thing. You know what I mean?
This guy again.
UPS guy just interrupted the
Podcast.
We should have him on the guest feature.
Man, I got so much to say right now, but I'm not going to say it. It's funny though. Yeah, dude. That threw me off. That was funny.
Yeah, UPS guy's walking away like he's all cool right now. Look at him. Cool dude. Thank you. Yeah, look at you guys. You guys are bullying.
It is funny too, because no, it's not. I was gonna say
he probably doesn't see that shit every day.
He's pretty cool though. He comes here all the time.
Oh, he knows you.
Yeah, he comes here all the time.
I was gonna say, what can Brown do for me? It can get the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Now you're
Keep
bullying.
moving.
Let's go back to the topic.
All right.
So let's finish up. So the thing is that when you got these kids that are locked up in juvenile hall and they have nothing to look forward to, and then you have fucked up parents they have to go home to. I mean, why wouldn't they want to be in the system?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and then just like the homeless people that want to be in the system for the 2 hots and a cot, right?
Well, it's like you got your parents that are doing drugs, right? If they have parents that are doing drugs, they're fucking crackheads. They're hooked on dope, or they are selling drugs. I mean, why would the kid want to be home? There's no curfew. There's nothing going on. There's no, hey, get to school on time.
Looking for somewhere to fit in, like,
and then
like to get out of the situation they're in at home.
Then we got teachers who care, but then the school system tells us they care too much.
Yeah.
Well, and the school system really cracks the whip on what teachers can do nowadays. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, the school system tells you, hey, you're a teacher.
It's all about liability now.
You care too much. You got to let this go. And there's other kids that need this attention. But when that teacher can actually make a difference in that kid's life, you know why? Because I was that kid.
Yeah.
Well, there's some good ones out there though that deviate from that. You know, they do the rules, but they make sure the kids are taken care of. There's some good teachers out there.
Yeah. Well, I remember being a kid, like, wasn't always like my stepdad, like me and him are really, really close now. And, he stepped in and showed me, right from wrong, and he did his part, but I remember being a young kid and being like, fuck that. Like, you're not my dad, yada, 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 being a little bastard. Right.
Yeah.
And, my dad, my biological dad, he's still out there on the streets, like choosing to live a hard life. And I remember being like, man, I could be one, like, what's the point? Like, I'm going to get up. I'm probably just going to end up just like my dad anyways. I'm just going to end up on drugs and on the street, or like not giving a fuck about my life. And, I give it to my stepdad, I give it to my grandfather and my uncle, and I give it to, my teachers for keeping me on the straight and narrow, and like showing me that there's more to life out there, Tiger, than just the unfortunate circumstance that your parent chose to choose. And I'm very grateful for that, because I remember being that kid, like I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, thinking, what does it matter? I'm just going to end up just like that. I'm going to end up on the streets. Like,
That's heavy.
I mean, that's how I was too with my dad. My dad was homeless, and it was just like, fuck, dude, I don't want to go down this path. And that was something I want to like just say to everybody, and especially kids or people who are struggling. Like, if your parents are fucked up, you don't have to follow that path.
Be fucked up. Yeah, you get to choose. That's the beauty of life.
Yeah, like, if your
circumstances don't define you.
If your parents are struggling, they're fucked up, they're not there for you, there's so many opportunities for you out there in this world. You just have to find it. You have to dig deep and really find it. I mean, I was that kid. He was that kid. Yeah. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
You don't have to be a statistic kid. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm just, I'm glad I had the people around in my life that I did, because had I not, who knows where I would have went, And
that's a beautiful thing. It's like, even if we like, that's what I talk about, like the jiu-jitsu part. Mm-hmm. If we all just came together and really show these kids like, hey, there's more to life than just bullshit. Yeah. Let's get you in jiu-jitsu. Let's get you in MMA. Let's get you this or that, even if you don't like it. But hey, we're going to step up and be those role models for you. And we're going to show you. And there's fighters out there who are making it for the UFC. Who's making it for Bellator. Who's making it for that one championship. And you're out there and you see these kids, like, be that role model for them as much as you can. When you're out there talking on the mics, those kids are watching you. Mm-hmm. They're watching every little thing you're doing. You have to be that role model for those kids. Yeah. Especially the UFC. I remember, like, there's kids out there right now who idolize these guys. And you got to be that role model for these kids and not just shit talk all the time. It's about like, hey man, let's make some change
for the people who are coming after you.
Yeah. I mean, you have an opportunity of a lifetime. You have this huge stage you get to talk on. You have the biggest podcast in the world when Joe Rogan hands you a mic and talks to you.
Yeah. Plus, if you truly love a sport, like it's never about generational. Like with me, I'm more like NFL, like football, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I love Joe Montana and the 80s stuff, but I didn't watch him play, so, but that doesn't mean I still don't appreciate him. But even now, like, I would say like my heyday of like loving football too was probably 10 years ago. It's still going now. I'm starting to age into it as an older guy, but but there's still rookies and young players I'm watching. And it's like, yeah, you can't discount the future. Like, the game changes because of the youth and you watch it change, and it's awesome and it's fun and it's exciting. And I feel the same with fighting. I feel like there's always going to be those old fuds that are like, well, back in my day when it was just pride, it's like, okay, dad, but okay, like, boomer.
Or he doesn't have to take like if you have this huge stage to talk to, this huge platform, right? And you're going on these podcasts or you're doing all these things, right? Or even if you win a fight, you win the championship fucking fight, or you win a UFC fight, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier comes on and gives you the microphone, and they're like, oh, I just lost a friend, this and that, or blah, blah, shout out, right? It doesn't have to take that just to say, hey, man, you know what, kids, like, don't follow in these footsteps. We're here for you. If you want to reach out, we're going to fucking send autographs. You want to talk to us, reach out to us, talk to us. I don't know how these guys run their platforms. I'm just saying, like, that would be, if you want to fight, if you want a championship UFC fight, what was the first thing you would say? Would you talk shit?
No, you'd probably be thankful. Everyone for the most part is thankful for something, whether it's God or their family. That's definitely usually the first thing that comes out of their mouth, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's always about who you're giving gratitude for your support. And I don't think, don't get me wrong, I do think it's funny when Nate Diaz won against Conor McGregor and was like, I ain't surprised, motherfuckers. That was perfect. I loved that. Yeah. I didn't want anything different, and I think he handled it exactly as he should have. I think it's up to you, but me personally, I probably would be more thankful. But that's just because I don't have the persona to be witty enough maybe as well to just be like, yeah, whatever. I don't think I'd have something cool to say. So, but I'm also more referencing like just respect. I think I would be more respectful.
But dude, growing up there, like Stockton's not far from, where we live here in the Central Valley. Stockton is our neighbor, It's literally like 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive. You're in Stockton, and it's rough out there. It's rough there. It's, it's for them to do what they did and, take the circumstances.
Oh, yeah, and put Stockton on the map.
Yep, and put,
what, my tattoo artist is from Stockton, and shout out to Lucky Tattoos. Yeah, he's from Stockton. He talks about like the different areas and how hard it is growing up there. And, for see a guy like that so successful, showing his artwork and doing such a wonderful job and actually making it and grinding it out every day. It's like, damn, man, if you can do it, anyone can do it. You're taking your artwork and you're shining, bro.
Yeah.
You're shining. And shout out to Lucky, dude. That's my brother from another mother.
Hell yeah.
He always got my back.
You got a lot of those.
Yeah. I have a lot of brothers from another mother. I got a lot of brothers. So, yeah, man. Shout out to you guys.
Hell yeah.
But I think that winds us down to
wrapping it up. I did want to end on something, though. I thought this was cool. I found a quote from Albert Einstein. It says, "You cannot solve a problem with the same mindset that created it." And if you're wondering what that means, basically, it's in order to solve a problem, you first have to see it with clarity. And on that note, have a good week. We'll see you next time. Thank you for subscribing, liking, watching. We're at Wolves Den on Instagram. Tactical Link. Give us a shout. We'll see you next time.
Buy your merch. Out. Peace.
Thank you, guys.